My name is Tatiana. I have 25 children, not married. Left 3 years ago, dated for 5 years. Husband had his first serious relationship. The first and only man and very reliable and kind person. But it's worth saying I've always been like honey anointed for guys. Height 170, slim. Long dark hair, fine features. In any company I am the center of male attention to a man is simple, but he has learned to live with this. Husband became very stout with the moment we met. His body was very far from ideal while mine every day became more and more seductive. Because I did sports correctly. 8 went gray days when it resounded. Call from unknown number. Hello. It's you, it's Andrew, it's all inside. Turned over, I recognized the slow voice. Andre and I were in the same class. Friends, constantly wooed, but teenage shyness did not allow to go further. Slow dance, we were friends. Helped each other in everything. Participated in competitions together in 11th grade. I wanted to be with him, but he slowed down and maiden pride did not let me take a step. I still remember this flawless physique, growth, huge palms, and even the smell of some pleasant purity. More that he was almost a genius, calculated the most complex formulas in the mind, and possessed phenomenal memory. It helped after school he enrolled on a grant U4 boarder and no one else saw him. Of course I wasn't going to tell my husband, and came up with a story about a friend who is depressed and needs to be saved. I call Andrew back and say that I can get out, he's fine. I called again. Remote control and roll ammonia, they are different too. Come, I was a little besieged. I thought this is something romantic but wrong. Just a reunion. But I still wanted to see him. Said that he took a car from a friend and will call. I called the address of the neighboring yard so that my husband did not follow the window. When I came up in place, there was an expensive black Jeep. The driver's side door was open wide, and the passenger was talking on the phone. It was him. When he saw me, he jumped up abruptly. Somehow absurdly smacked on the cheek, dropped phone to everything in addition, and obviously confused, we stood for another moment, shy like two idiots, after which he hurried to open the door for me with the words, "Let's go." Are already there. The 4 of us were sitting in a nice Italian restaurant. Remembered joking, but it didn't matter. He was important. God, how handsome he was. Him too tall, athletic, stylish, rich, smart, kind guy from a simple family who I achieved everything myself. I admired him. I knew I fell in love like a 1-year-old brat. I couldn't eat, drink. I even did not hear my own voice during the conversation. The kids were chatting and laughing. And he just looked at me and slightly smiling is just devilish. Seductive look. I could not do anything. Blushed, looked away, hands trembled, threw me into a fever. I was wildly shy. Him, and burned from his gaze, just not knew where to go on. The clock was about 9. We began to round off at the wheel. Was only he, and volunteered to divorce everyone. Kittens seemed like she lived next to my happiness. The remote control lived closer to me, and we could be with him even longer. Left our former classmate. I thought that in just 20 minutes I will be at home. This evening will end, and I will probably never see again. We drove towards my house in full silence. I didn't know what to say. I imagined how I would come home, and all night I will spend in tears like a teenager. I wanted him to disappear from my life. Andre also drove silently, but then he asked, "Maybe we can sit somewhere." The feeling that this is the happiest moment in my life. It meant that I was not just one of my school friends. I told him. Cute. I tried to behave at ease. The weather is wonderful. I think we can sit down on the flyers of the suburban. Conversation is not glued. We began to dance, played quiet, empty music, dimly lit. Parking around the forest to replace the naughty nostalgia began to come. Completely different feelings from him. Amazingly smelled strength, and the power of his body was felt in everyone. Slightest movement. Beautiful Adam's apple wide shoulders, so native and at the same time Another adult I did not understand what I was doing just started kissing him on the neck. Collarbone he stopped his breathing became intermittent. You at least understand how much. Years I love you blurted out in a hoarse whisper. He then kissed, then he still long persuaded to go with him, threatened pick me up, of course I couldn't collect things and fly away with him in hours, but he flew away, called 10 times a day, sends expensive gifts, come almost every month. Cheating on your husband becomes very difficult, but decide on a divorce while I'm afraid, Andrew? He said that all his life he had been waiting and still waiting. How much do I need?